Hello, everyone. Hope you are having a good day, enjoying Zoholics. So, myself, Sriram, like Truman said, I work for the Zoho workplace as a senior product expert. I will be handling email security and migration during this session. So, any questions that you have, this is where you get it clarified. And we all know how important email security is. So, that's why we are here. All right. So, a quick question to all of you here. This looks like an normal email, right? But I think there is something important that each of us should care about whenever we look at an email. All right. Do you think anything suspicious in there? So if you found it, just hold on. All right. Just keep it up. We'll go through the session and we'll get back there. We'll just circle back onto this once we are done with the email security thing and threat protection. So, going on. As we all know, like the famous quote goes, it takes quite a long time, like 20 years or 25 years to, build a reputation for your business, right? But it's just a small cyber security incident, that can spoil the entire thing. Understand? Everyone in agreement with me? Yeah, right. So I don't think I need to deep dive on why we need to care about data security because you're already aware of it. May just know how many of us are administrators or owners of your organization. You take care of IT admin. All right, good. How many of us are decision makers here? Like to your organization, great. And that's why this is very important for you so that you can carry on this knowledge and pass it on to your organization users, members, and make sure your data is secure. All right. So what are we going to talk about in this session is advanced threat protection, how in Zoho Mail we take care of your data and make sure you do not fall a victim to the cybersecurity incidents. And then how you can handle email encryption, okay, while sending out emails from your account, all right, so that your data is secure when you send it across. And then how you can make sure your account is secure amidst all these threats, and then how to monitor your accounts. So these are the things that we are going to look out. See that guy who is really naughty? Yeah, he's trying to steal your data. All right, rest assured, we'll take care of it. So you all are aware of various threat activities that are happening, but some of them are very, very important over here. Malware, spoofing, phishing, and spam. I don't think I need to explain what spam is to one of you. I think it's pretty common. So we'll deep dive into each one of these. So malware is nothing but an URL or an attachment that is along with your email, which tries to install a sensitive element into your system, and in the backend it just grabs all your data. And once you're aware of the hack, they ask for your ransom. Yeah, we have all heard of all the statistics. So how are we preventing it in Zoho? How are we detecting malware, and how are you going to prevent it? So first and foremost stuff is the secure attachment policy on the top left that you see. Yeah, that is where all the globally blocked file types like the executable files, the terminal files, the JS files, all these are automatically filtered by Zoho Mail's antivirus system, and only those emails which does not have those attachments will be moved on to the signature analysis section. So what does signature analysis mean? So there are a lot of predefined signatures for email threads, for attachment threads. All those are already pre-filled in our engine. So those are getting analyzed there. And even those only those emails that pass the signature analysis thread will be moved on to a sandboxing environment where the behavior of the file is further deep dived and a static and dynamic analysis is conducted. For example, if a user is downloading an attachment, what happens to the file? Does it try to run a macro at the background, or what happens to the file? That is what is happening in the sandboxing environment in static and dynamic. So you're sure, rest assured, all these things are happy. The email is good. We deliver to the inbox, but we also take care of the post delivery scan. What does that mean? For up to 7 days, we keep scanning your mailbox for the attachments to counteract 0 day threats. All right. Whenever there is a new threat that comes up, that is why we do the post delivery scan. And then on top of all of these, time of click protection comes in, where I try to download an attachment from an email. Okay. And if the system tries to, you know, download a particular attachment which is in a kind of a threat. At that time, it throws an error, and then it goes back to the signature analysis and alerts the engine like there is an activity of such file type which the user has clicked. And we have this in our system, and all such similar file types in the future that gets blocked. So we also have the user feedback option where how many of us had done report phishing, block future emails. You see that? So that is user feedback. So that is also fed back to the signature analysis stage where we gather that, and we do not process certain similar file types in the future for your organization. So I think with all these things, I need to also make sure that users are the first line of defense when it comes to threat protection. Agreed? Yeah. So on top of all this technology stuff, as a user, even myself, I need to be cautious whenever I'm opening an email, right? So I've told about the system level functionalities, but I'd also like to say like administrators who are here, you can move on to the admin console and on top of the all basic stuff and just going on to a live demo. Let me know if you can see the screen. Yeah, you can see that in the mailbox settings. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm into the repos. My bad. Mhm. So you go on to the mail settings on the left menu. See there on the admin console, mailbox settings, you go to the policies, you come to email restrictions. I have created a new email restriction policy. Okay, I'm just going to show what I have created. It is an attachment policy where I do not want any incoming email with an attachment of AAC or MP4 file type. This is for my particular organization, and it needs to be applied only for a set of users in my organization. This is additional protection for attachments that if I feel my contractors in my team are going to be affected with video file types, I go on to the email policies back and click on the contractors, add the users like the employees in your organization who are contractors, and that's easy to add. Just click on add and choose your users from here, and then give proceed and then submit. And all you need to do is go back to this email restriction from the restrictions drop down. Okay, I created a new policy, right? The attachment policy, make sure that is available there. By default, the default policy of the organization will be applied. But the moment I apply this policy to this contractors, okay, on top of all those things that I explained before, remember that this will get into picture. So it makes sure all those file types, default file types, but on top of it, AAC and MP4 files are all not also delivered to the user's mailbox of those contractors. Rather, you can choose whether it needs to be moved to spam or moved to quarantine. If it is moved to quarantine, as an administrator, you can take care of the further settings. Yeah. So this is the message header. Okay. So whenever we get an email, we generally try to look at the from address, subject, then go into the content of the email, right? But what do you do if you think something is suspicious? I go and click on show original, and this screen comes up. And unfortunately, as you can see, the from address has been spoofed. Oops. You see that? This would not be visible right on the top of your normal screen when you look at an email. Agreed? So, so you go on to your may I know who was that? Sorry. All right. So you go on to your mail, you have a small drop down near to the listing. You will have an option. I just go here, click on an email. I have this drop down here. It says show original. That's all. So go and inspect it. All right. Yeah. So it's really critical that these spoofing things are taken care of, and this is how we prevent email spoofing. So a couple of things. One is the display name spoofing, which we just saw, and then the VIP fraud or the cousin domain phishing. Oh, sorry, spoofing. So what does cousin domain mean? It's like a lookalike domain. Assume webhosting.com is a website. It's my domain. I just replaced the W with a VV. Okay, it means VVEB hosting.com. When you receive an email, it just looks like webhosting.com. That is a cousin domain detection. And VIP fraud is nothing but CEO at the rate Zocop. It means Sridhar is sending out an email previously. Yeah. But if you want such things to be prevented, such spoofing activities to be prevented, you can take care as an administrator from the admin console. All right. On top of all these things, basically, we all need to take care of email authentication, which is SPF DKMD mark. Are we all aware of it? Have we done it for our organization? Great. So yeah. So what additionally you can know is on top of all these three things, these are like sitting on top of each other, SPF, DKM, and DMARC. So once you're done with all those things comes BIMI. So BIMI is a brand indicator messaging system where your organization's logo will automatically be uploaded to a portal. Yeah. So you create an org logo for your business, you upload it to a portal, you generate a URL for that. Okay. You give that URL to a certified uh, vendor who generates a certificate for your logo and associate it with your business. All right. So that nobody else can spoof your business's logo. So once you're done with that, you can see a logo on uh, the email over there. You want me to zoom in or is it fine? You look at that blue tick over there. That means it is BIMI verified. All right. So what does BIMI do? Not BIMI is an upcoming, email security or email authentication feature that not many email clients support as on date. Some of them like Zoho Mail, Gmail, and Fastmail. These people support, and only if it is supported, this blue tick will be visible. So we in Zoho Mail are supporting this, and how you can do that for your organization is quickly, once again, I'm going on to my admin console as an administrator. I move on to my domains. Like I said, for each domain, for each business you have, you can associate your organization logo. Here, I'm going on to select my domain, email configuration. This is where you did your authentication system protocols. You have this PIM here. Like I said, you will get that URL where you uploaded the logo, put it over there, and then get a certificate from an authorized vendor. Paste the certificate URL there and hit on generate. You'll get a TXT record. You go and add it to your DNS manager. That's it. So after you do this, all emails that are sent from your organization will be BIMI verified in the end user's destination. What does BIMI help? We have heard that a study says, a survey says, up to 37% of emails after BIMI verified are being clicked and opened by end users, especially the transactional emails that you receive from your banking. If it has a logo, you go and confidently open it, right? Even if it is in a mobile app or in a web app. So that is what BIMI has done in the last year or so. Okay, moving on. Another friend comes here. He's trying to pull out some data from my laptop. All right. He's trying to phish me. And how do you prevent phishing in Zoho Mail? You heard about IP addresses getting blocked. You're not allowed to log in sometimes when you move out of station. I faced it in my test account when coming to US from India last Sunday. So, so these blocked IP addresses and scanning of special characters inside the email, all these things happen in the back end. So even before the email is processed and received to your inbox, all these scans happen. And only those which pass the universal, antivirus threats and, antivirus, tests, those things get delivered to your inbox. So don't ask me, like, even though you do all these things, I'm getting spam. Why am I getting spam emails? So don't ask me that. There are still, threat people who are intelligent. They develop new engine, new viruses day in day out. Yeah. So they try to bypass all these systems and try to deliver a phishing link embedded email into your mailbox. So how do we prevent that? We have something called as time of click protection and URL rewriting. These are features that an administrator can configure in your admin console again. So once you configure that, whenever a user clicks on a link, if we identify it as a phishing link, we throw up an error like this. There are multiple error alerts based on the category of threat. For example, this is a file download alert, or even if URL is getting redirected, you look at the URL and the actual destination URL is different. That URL redirection is there. But if we find something as phishing, a lookalike website has been created and we think that the person is trying to steal your credentials, all right, we don't allow you to proceed because we are 100% sure that you do not want to open that link. Yep. So, but if there is a file that I'm going to receive from my colleague, I'm sure of that, but our engine detects it as a threat, we'll warn the user and allow them to proceed. Yep. How do you do that? Is it's still in progress. If you want this enabled, you can reach out to our help desk. This feature is only for exclusive customers who are here in the Zoholics, so that you can, if you have heard about it, we will analyze your requirement and we'll enable it for you. There are three different threads. One is the central email address. It is from my colleague, yeah, but I suppose she's not supposed to send me a password reset alert, right? Who is supposed to send? It's recommended that a common email address across the organization, like a sysadmin address, it's recommended. It's based on your requirement that you can, it's supposed to come from them, right? Any patch updates to your system, okay, any security updates to your system, to your account, that should come from a common email address. Yeah. And then I'm being, panicked. My account is going to get blocked or deleted. It creates a sense of panic, right? You need to do it before so and so date, or else I'm going to delete your account. All of a sudden, I go and click on this link, and oops, it opens up Zoho's login page. I immediately go, I'm in a sense of urgency. I'm already in the middle of a meeting. I go and enter my credentials, gone. I don't even know. I just think I've resetted my password and move on to a meeting. But at the back end, my data is being stolen. Yeah. So, in general, even myself as a user, I first need to pay attention to the email content, the sender, and the domain. Like I said, the lookalike domain I mentioned. There could be a couple of R's over there, Zilker, RR. I should not oversee it. So these are some things that we need to educate users about. It's our responsibility as an administrator, as a business owner. It's our business. It's not to create a panic, but it's to create a sense of responsibility among all the users, right? Yeah. So with that, we are moving on to the email encryption portion, where we are going to see how we can send sensitive data, which needs to be shared via email, but it needs to reach the intended recipient without being mishandled. So some of these are the SMIME, pretty good privacy, PGP, and secure pass mail. So quickly starting with SMIME, this is an encryption technique where a private and public pair of keys are used to encrypt and decrypt an email. All right. So all I need to do is I need to first purchase a certificate from a valid, verified vendor for my user account, and I go on to my Zoho Mail account and configure SMIME using that certificate. I just show you how to do that. So as you can see, there is a settings icon, right? I just slowly move on, scroll down to the send mail as section. You see configure SMIME over there. Yep. So once I have a certificate for my account, I can click on add certificate, choose that file and save it. So what happens after I do that? So whenever I'm sending an email, I have the option to encrypt with SMIME, and automatically my public key, it encrypts the email and it changes into unrecognizable format, and it gets delivered to the end recipient. And only if the end recipient, the actual person has the private key to decrypt it, yep, they will be able to view the contents of the email. Simple, right? All you need to do is purchase a certificate and upload it into your system. So, what does PGP do? It's a similar public private pair key. The primary difference between the two encryption techniques is you purchase a certificate over there, but this one you can generate from open source, the private and public pair keys. Yeah. So here what you need to do is assume Dave has a private and public key and Alex also has his own. Dave has to share his public key with Alex. That's the first step that needs to be there. And then once Dave sends an email, he'll be encrypting it Obviously, that's why he has generated that pair of keys. So the data is encrypted. Once the email is delivered to the mailbox, Alex has to use his private key, and that needs to match. Yep. Once that matches, the content is visible to the end recipient, that is Alex in this case. If not, oops, you're not supposed to read this email. Then we'll see how to send a secure pass mail, and it's each of these has a unique use case. And secure pass mail is where I want to send some, sales data or some, sensitive data as an attachment to an email, and I don't want, you know, anyone else other than the actual recipient to read it. All I do is compose the email. I click on the secure pass mail icon. I also can set the expiry date for that email, a custom date or 1 day, apply the changes and make the attachment over there and send it. That's it. So I sent it to Scott. Okay, that's another test account that we have. And now I have logged into Scott's account. You can only just a moment. I pause it over there. Just give me a second. As you can see, only an email with generic data states like Rebecca has sent you a secure pass mail. You can read it by clicking on the link below. So you can see if you can see over there, you hover over and see what the actual link is. Make sure that is also relatable to the actual link that you are clicking. So it will ask Scott to verify his identity. And this is based on the two-factor authentication that is set. If it is a push notification or if it is a password or a TOTP, that will be asked for a re-authentication to make sure it is Scott who is viewing the email. And then only you will be able to view the email content and the attachment. So you can go and check in the email providers page whether they support secure pass mail. It's not about receiving an email, it's about sending an email with encrypted, encryption. So next comes account security. So we all know about social engineering that is happening, business email compromise, account takeovers, so many threats happening. How can we prevent that? So as an organization, as an admin, you can enforce multi-factor authentication. Okay. And there are something called as conditional based access and risk based access that Zoho Mail supports in the background. So what does that mean? So based on the person accessing his or her account from a location, say a pattern is there, I always access my account from India, and all of a sudden the IP address is stating he's Sriram is accessing from Houston, and there are 4 or 5 consecutive login failures. This is a you know usage pattern change, behavioral change, so it alerts the administrator immediately, okay, stating there is a difference in login location and there is a suspicious login activity, there is an unusual account activity. So check out what it is. So as an administrator, you can check out with Sriram or the end user and ask them if they are the person who's actually trying to log in, and you can take counter preventive measures like resetting the password, temporary blocking the account. It's based on your you know requirement. And then we also recommend and support in Zoho Mail, we support strong password policies which you can set for your organization. And then, like I said, as an administrator, you can reset the password. I said it's a critical action, right? So for such critical actions in the admin console, we have something called as re-authentication. You already logged in with your account with a two-factor authentication. Okay, then you are going to reset a password or apply an email policy. At that time, we ask you to re-authenticate once again with your MFA mode. If it is a two-factor authentication or a TOTP or a push notification, we ask you to do that once again to make sure it is you who is doing that activity and not someone else. And we also have adaptive IP blocking, like I said. There are global IP addresses which are in the blocked list. And we also allow administrators to add their own IP addresses, set of IP address range from which you want your organization users to access their account, are not from all open IP addresses. So these are all the things that can help you to prevent users from falling prey to the you know account takeover and stuff. So last but not the least, monitoring. Agree that an administrator should monitor his account. Yeah. How can you do that? In Zoho Mail admin console, you have something called as security score. Oops, it's not 94. It's not 100. This test account, it's not 100 here. It's recommended that we keep it at 100. And there are 16 actions overall, okay, to prevent any threat activity, out of which I have completed only 15 and one incomplete is to a TFAO. I've been telling mandate MFA and I have not done it for my test account. My bad. So, what are the other 15 things? Is like you can quickly take a look. Some of those things which we spoke already. Yeah. So, once you do all these things, we ensure that your account is secure and we also allow administrators to check logs. As you can see at the bottom of your screen here, the admin reports. That leads to a security dashboard where you can deep dive into your security score, the spam report, the rejection logs, and importantly, you have something called a security tab over here where all those account related activities can be filtered based on login activity, failed logins, or it's just for yesterday. You can filter it out and see, look at it. John has tried to log in at so and so time using a Google Chrome browser in a Mac. Yeah, from this IP address. So these are all, in-depth details that an administrator can. So as an administrator, you can monitor your account activities from here and take preventive actions. So some of the best practices. We are come to end of the email security session. Some of the best practices, like I said, the users are the first, line of defense. So educate them, conduct regular awareness sessions. Do not post your email addresses in open forums. Use the, because bots try to, take out your address and start sending random emails to you. So do not post them and do not share personal identifications like your health security number or a, you know credit card number via email directly. Make use of secure pass mail, and then the metadata or the sense of urgency that I was talking about. And do not click the hyperlink or links that are there in your email immediately. Try to hover over it. Yeah, hover over the link and see if the redirection link is the same. Yep. And then identifying grammatical and spelling errors is just basic stuff. AI takes care of these things, but still it's good to keep an eye on that. Validate the sender identity. Make sure that person is intended to send that email. It need not necessarily be the person in your organization. Yeah, look for attractive offers. If you won a lottery, look for those things and do not, treat those emails as important email. Do not open them. Yeah. So how many of us have already migrated here from a different email service provider to Zoho Mail? Or you have been using Zoho Mail for quite some time already? No? Anyone who is using Google Workspace here already? Okay. You know how simple migrating from another service provider to Zoho Mail is. Just these 4 steps that you reach out to us and we do the, first step, which is the discovery phase and assessment phase. We get your use cases of your organization email sending, the number of users, the number of, the user accounts, the storage requirement, the integration requirements that you need from third parties. Yeah. And then we do an assessment of how best we can do it. Choose few users from your organization, maybe a 4 or 5, and do a proof of concept. And our dedicated onboarding team will assist you throughout the migration process and make sure all the abnormalities, if any, are fixed during the POC stage and then go to the final migration. Yeah. So the final migration will be done in batches. Few things to keep in mind when you're doing a migration is it is recommended that users do not change their password during the migration is happening because it might suspend the migration and we need to run that from the beginning again. It's time consuming process, right? So we are in the process of coming up with a notification emails where we notify users at the start and end of migration, and we also help with sending out welcome emailers and user adoption plans, which I'll be covering during this session. Yeah. So we'll quickly do a demo on how we migrate from Google Workspace. Small video. I'll just be quickly running through how we do it.
Switching from Google Workspace to Zoho Mail, we got you covered. This video will give you an overview of the 4 simple steps to kickstart the migration journey.
So first up, we are going to enter the migration details like the administrator's email address, with protocol we are going to migrate using. Here we are going to talk about the one-click migration. So and then Google mandates an authentication process. Okay, for give me a moment for Zoho to authorize and pick the email data, calendar data, and contacts data from Google, and then migrate it here. So that authorization you need to do, it's a one-time authentication process. It's very simple. We did it for 2 to 3 users yesterday here, and once you do that, you will be able to download. That is what we are doing there. We need to create a project in your Google Admin Console. You know, put in the account email address, go and give set of permissions for APIs. Needs to be API handshakes like the Google Calendar, Google Contacts, and then give the scope for Zoho to pull the data. Once you are done with that, you will get a JSON file which you need to keep it in the backend, and then select the users for migration in Zoho Mail Admin Console. Yep. Once you do that, you can straight away go and start the migration. Okay, I'll stop the video over here and I'll show you real quick in the admin console over there. So I just went on to the data migration tab on the left menu. You see there? I gave a name for the migration. It's just batch 10. I selected from the drop down add new server details. I've done a lot of migrations, test day migrations over there. So, and then choose Google Workspace. This is that one click migration that I told. And as you can see, this is the super admin email address of the Google Workspace account. And then when we created that JSON file, we have a service email account address associated for that particular migration alone, not for the entire data in Google Workspace. Yeah, only for this migration. And then you click on upload secret key file and you'll be asked to browse your files. And that is the file that I had downloaded. Right. I quickly scroll down and authenticate. I hope it works. Yeah. So I have now, thank God, yeah. So I now authenticated and I now have the option to decide what data I need to bring from Gmail. So for mail, contact, calendar, whether to migrate all the folders or only specific folders. When I select all folders, I don't want my spam data in Gmail to come to Zoho Mail. So I exclude that here and then choose the range. If you are going to do a test migration for just a month, you can do that by selecting emails in a specific range as well. You choose the date range. Like I said, during a proof of concept, if you just want to do for a single user for a single 1 month time or 2 month time, you can do that by using this option. And then we all know like Gmail has this label and star thing. So those things which you had multiple labels to a single email, that will become a duplicate here. So we are making sure that duplicates are not coming in your Zoho Mail account and occupying the space. So we are selecting those check boxes, and I'll quickly go on and choose my concurrent session limit. For example, what does this session connection limit means? At a particular time, I am running 10 different batches of migration and I want the first 5 to first get over. And once it's over, I will take the sixth one, seventh one. That limit is based on your network preferences, your speed that you want. And then when do you want to pause the migration? Storage is important, right? So when a user account reaches 80% of their storage, assume you get a 1 GB account or 100 GB account. When the account reaches 80 GB, okay, out of 1 TB, you will pause the migration, ask the user to delete their old data and then resume the migration here. Or you can choose to pause it at 95% as well. It's your choice, and then click on create. All we are doing here is we have just set up the migration configuration. We need to now decide which user to be migrated. Click on add. So this window shows the source account, which is Google. I'm just choosing some email address for test purpose, and then I'll choose the destination address something and I'll click add. I'm not going to run this migration because it's going to take hell a lot of time. I'll quickly go on to show how this migration has completed. There was a test migration which I did probably a couple of days back or last week. So once it is completed, you can click on that particular user. If you have added 10 users to this batch, all 10 will get listed one below the other. And you can see that there are 3 tabs over there: mail, contacts, and calendar. All the folders in your Gmail are migrated, how many emails are there, if anything is failed, and then the total. If anything is failed, you will have a small pop-up over here stating 2 failed emails. If you click on that, you will have a reason for failure, probably size exceeded or a duplicate. What does size exceeded mean? Zoho Mail supports a maximum of 40 MB of email. Assume you had sent few attachments from your Gmail, which is exceeding 40 MB. So we'll not bring it here. So we'll list the reason for there as for that as well, and we can show an overview, kind of a dashboard where you can see what has been migrated. Cool. So that is uh, the end of Zoho Mail migration from any vendor. We just saw like Google Workspace, we do from Microsoft, we do from on-prem Microsoft Exchange, Zimbra, all these. We support any standard email protocol that is supported by your email provider. We got you covered. So these are just the screenshots of what you saw on the live account. Just quickly skipping file migration part. We just saw the email migration from Google Workspace, Microsoft OneDrive. We'll just cover the file migration thing. It's just a quick process of requesting for migration from the admin panel in Zoho, and you'll have to fill your request. So the number of users, the file size that you want to migrate from OneDrive. Okay, once that is done, we will give you a detailed, document via email stating what are all the things that will get migrated, what are the limitations, how the file status will get migrated. All those things will be thrown back to you via email. And once that is done, you can start your migration along with our team. All you need to do is authorize your Microsoft OneDrive admin with Zoho OneDrive and move on to grant access as an administrator in the applications section. Okay. And once that is done, you can export the users from your Microsoft account and add a column stating the corresponding work drive email address that you want to associate in Zoho, right? Once you do that, you import the users in the admin panel in Zoho. It can be Zoho Mail admin console or the work drive admin console, or the Zoho One admin console. Map them from with the source account like we did for the email migration, and then start the migration. You can see the statistics over there in the dashboard of how many files have migrated. And throughout this process, you don't have to worry about it. We have the dedicated team, be it migration of emails or files. We have covered you. We'll have, remote connections if you want, and we will assist you. We will have the user adoption plan once the migration is happened to communicate about the changes, how the features work. We can educate the users on about the new interface and stuff. And then we also have 24/7 support, email, call, and chat. Yeah. Hope you all secure your organizations